Well, good afternoon. I'm Major General Fullhart, the Commandant of Cadets for the Virginia Tech Corps of Cadets, and we're so glad you could join us for Hokie Focus. Congratulations on your admission to Virginia Tech. I hope you're able to learn more about our leader development program today and see how we can help develop you into the global ethical leaders our country needs now more than ever. Again, welcome.
Hi, I'm Cadet Captain Ryan Grannon. And yes, I'm in uniform. That's because I'm a member of the Virginia Tech Corps of Cadets, and I'd like to show you my life here at the university, both inside and outside the Corps. As a member of the Corps, the War Memorial Hall is a special place for me. The pylons represent brotherhood, honor, leadership, loyalty, service, sacrifice, duty, and our university's motto, Ud Prosim, that I may serve. In the Corps, we strive to live by these standards every day, but there are a lot of things that are unique to the Corps. We're on the drill field for our pass and review, an integral part of our life as a regiment. In the Corps, we live together, get fit together, eat together, and learn together. This is the Skipper Crew, and this is the Skipper Cannon that has been a tradition in the Corps of Cadets since 1963. It's used for touchdowns at football games, pass and reviews, and for formal retreats. Class rings are a great university tradition that began in the Corps. This is the Centennial Ring, forged in 2011. You can find the Skipper Cannon and the pylons on every model of the class ring. Every junior looks forward to the ring dance where they formally receive their ring. Looking back as a senior, ring dance was one of the most enjoyable experiences I had. It's Division I football, a game night in Blacksburg with the Corps in full force to support the Hokies. It's not to be missed. It doesn't get any better than this. My life outside the Corps includes a reading group organized by one of the Corps faculty for the Kellogg Center for Politics, Philosophy, and Economics. I also participate in the Political Science Club, the Philosophy Club, and I serve as the Vice President of the PPE Club. I major in Politics, Philosophy, and Economics. PPE for short. So I spend a lot of time in the library and the University Writing Center. I work hard, and the Corps alumni support me with an Emerging Leader Scholarship, so I'm not going to let them down. Now I'm headed to class. Today's a great day. We just had our change of command ceremony on the drill field, where last semester's leaders handed off the reins to our rising leaders this semester. I'd like to introduce you to Cadet Sergeant Shackelford, one of our handlers for Cadet Brigadier General Growley II here, our Canine Ambassador from the Corps of Cadets. It's going to be a great year. I'm becoming a leader both inside and outside the Corps. Virginia Tech really is the best of both worlds for me, and it might just be for you too.
Welcome. My name is Lieutenant Colonel Merger, and I'm the recruiting officer here for the Virginia Tech Corps of Cadets. I'm so glad that you were able to join us today. If you have questions, please feel free to email us at corps, C-O-R-P-S, at VT, as in Virginia Tech, .edu as in education. We'd love to answer your questions. So today we're going to talk about the differences between ROTC and the Corps, the basic week in the life of a cadet, as well as our 3 phases of training. So let's get started. What is the Corps of Cadets? Well, we are one of 6 senior military colleges. The others are VMI, the Citadel, Norwich, North Georgia, and Texas A&M. Now, only 2 of us, Virginia Tech and Texas A&M, have a Corps within a larger public university. So it makes us kind of unique in the options that are out there for you. So then the next question I almost always get is, well, if that's the Corps and this is ROTC, what is the relationship between the 2? And here at Virginia Tech, the Board of Visitors policy says that if you're enrolled in ROTC, you must also be in the Corps. But you can be in the Corps without being ROTC. So what that means is that we have 2 tracks. We've got a military track and a citizen leader track. Now these are 2 equal ways to go through our program. Our military track is comprised of our 3 ROTCs, the 3 of the largest, and of course, in my opinion, 3 of the best ROTCs in the nation. So come seek out those leadership opportunities right here in our ROTC programs, and they are going to give you a lot more information about that later. But one thing I will say is that you should think of ROTC as a second major. You know, if you're going to go be an engineer, you're going to take classes in engineering, labs in engineering, you try very hard for an internship in engineering, you graduate, go become an engineer. Well, think of ROTC the same way. You're going to have a class in ROTC every semester, a lab in ROTC every semester. You're going to have an internship, if you will, right? A bit of a stretch for the marine options out there, but you're going to do the summer training, and then you're going to graduate, commission, and go become an officer in the military. So think of ROTC as a second parallel major that you're pursuing while you're in college. The Corps, on the other hand, we're really this day-to-day lifestyle that you're going to lead while you're here. And the university likes to refer to us as a residential learning community, but that's a bit of a stretch. But again, we're this day-to-day lifestyle. We're the uniforms. We're the morning formation. We are some of the parades, right? We're going to be that day-to-day lifestyle. And like I said, these are two equal ways to go through our program. Our citizen leader track is for those students who maybe know ahead of time, military is not for me, but I know I want this kind of leadership development. I want this kind of camaraderie. I want that assistance making that leap from college to my career that the Corps can offer. And I know that this is how I want to go through college. So here's the meat and potatoes of it. If we were to lay out all of the lifestyles I think you could live while you were in college, I think they fit along this continuum. On one end of the spectrum, you have the civilian university or the ROTC only program. On the other end of the spectrum, you have that all military, all the time school, right? The service academy, a lot of sister senior military colleges kind of fit on that end. Right in the middle, you've got Virginia Tech and Texas A&M. And like I said, we're the only two that have that core within a larger public university. So it makes us kind of unique among the options that are out there for you. So I would say there are three basic differences of being here compared to being at a civilian or ROTC only program. The first is that we're going to give you a lot more academic transition between high school and college. You know, the average GPA of a high school senior being offered admission at Virginia Tech is a 4.17. But what does that mean, right? Is it AP? Is it IB? Is it 4-point, 12-point, 11-point? Texas has an 11-point scale. We're still trying to figure it all out, right? This is all apples, oranges, and bananas, and it all got mushed into this number. So it's a completely imaginary number. They just don't give it any weight when they're looking at it. But what they will do is they will look at your high school transcript and look at the major that you've chosen that you want to study here. And they'll say, do you have a good match? And so I think it's really important. Probably the easiest way to be denied at Virginia Tech is not to have a match between your high school strengths in your classes and what you've chosen to major in at Virginia Tech. So do some research, make sure that that's a really good fit for you. And then the second part of it, about 40% of the equation, is how you answer those short answer essay questions. These are really important, and cadets tend to do really well on these. So make sure you're putting that effort in on those essay questions. But what does it mean, right? All these students being admitted, to me, it means, wow, they are academically successful students that are going to do well here at Virginia Tech. So here's a fun question. What do you think is the average GPA of a high school senior, or I'm sorry, what do you think is the average GPA of a freshman at Virginia Tech after 1 year? I mean, think about that. I mean, be really honest. You know, when we're talking out loud, most students will tell me, oh, like 3.7, right? In their minds, I can kind of see this bubble above their head, and they're sitting there thinking, well, you know, I had a 4.0 in high school. I'm probably going to get a 4.0 in college, but I don't want to say that in front of everybody, right? But really think about it. What do you think you're going to get your very first year in college? And like I said, most students will tell me about a 3.75. But would you believe the average GPA here at Virginia Tech, and I'm talking all 7,500 freshmen that came in last year, the average GPA was a 2.92. Now, wait a minute, 4.0s coming in and a year later they're averaging C's? Like, what in the world is going on? And I think this is a question worth asking. What in the world is going on? Why are students having so much trouble taking success in high school and transitioning it to success in college? And if I had to put a pin in it, I would really call it time management. Now, students always go, no, wait a minute, I'm good at time management, thank you very much. Have you seen all the things I'm doing in high school and all the grades I'm getting? I'm good at time management, right? So I think it's worth defining. I think you're very good at assignment management. Like, I don't think you can get into college unless you take a list of things that you're doing, plot them all out, and make sure you hit those marks. But what we're talking about is time management, which is a little bit different. You know, we're going to sit down and we're going to look at a daily schedule, and we're going to help you plot out at least 2 hours of study for every hour you're in class. So if you figure you're in class about 15 hours a week in college, you know, and you put in 30 hours of study, that's a 45-hour work week. You know, if you come to college and you treat it like a job, you're going to be a lot more successful. So one of the major things we're going to work on, which is our evening class on Monday nights, is we're going to sit down and we're going to really fine tune this time management, not just writing down what's due that day, but actually looking at a schedule and saying, okay, if after formation, what am I going to do for the next hour before I have class? And what am I going to do in the 2 hours in between class? Actually get down to that granular level, and we're going to figure this out so that the second week of classes, your peers on the other side of campus are sitting there staring at 6 syllabi going, oh my gosh, I'm so overwhelmed, I hardly know where to start. A cadet goes, all right, I know if I do what I said I need to get done today, it's all going to happen by the end of the year. And so just a very different starting point. We're really going to sit down and help you get that time management. Core, by the way, we averaged a 3.27 last year. So we did a little bit better than that 292 at the university. But what's really telling is we had a company of sophomores average a 3.4. You know, if you come in and you focus on what we're trying to teach you, I think you're going to find that you get off to a much better start here. The other thing that I think is very different about being here compared to an ROTC only program is we're going to give you a very different roommate experience. You know, where I went to school, I was from Alaska, my roommate was from Hawaii. They said, hey, let's put them together, right? And she was a design major. And so she did all this group work. So we had 5, 6 people in the room, lights on, TV on, music playing. She always said they didn't get creative until about 2 a.m. Meanwhile, I got to get up at 5 a.m. for PT. I'm here to tell you, it is very hard to be academically successful if you're homeless. You know, if you're avoiding your room because you can't figure this stuff out, it makes it very hard to focus on what's really important. So I talk to the cadets here and I go, all right, well, what's your roommate experience like here in the Corps? And they say, ma'am, it doesn't feel like I have one roommate. I feel like I've got 29 roommates. Now, you may be wondering, oh, wait a minute, 29 roommates, like how's that going to be better? But the difference is here in the Corps, we're going to take some things out of the room that cause conflict between roommates. You know, we're going to take TV out for a while. We're going to take music out for a while. It's not that you can't listen to music or watch TV. You can, just do it in TV lounges or off upper quad. But we're going to just take it out for a little while so you and your roommate can learn how to communicate first before we start adding in all these things that cause conflict. Now, that almighty music privilege, by the way, usually comes back around the 6-week point. So it's not forever, but it's just a chance to get off to a better start. And finally, it's about leadership. You know, when you look at your average ROTC out there, it's probably around 200 cadets. Well, in order to lead at least 30 people in a 200-person organization, you need to be one of the top 10% or top 20 cadets in the program. The problem is, there's more seniors than that. There's seniors all the time that graduate from those programs, never getting the opportunity to practice leadership at that 30-person or higher level. Now, shift to Virginia Tech. We have 3 of the largest, and like I said, in my opinion, 3 of the best ROTCs in the nation. Come seek out those exact same leadership opportunities right here in our ROTCs. But in addition, we have the Corps of Cadets. We were over 1,100 cadets strong this fall. So what does that mean? That means we have over 100 leadership positions every semester. We're the only senior military college that turns these over every semester. So even more cadets get this opportunity to practice leadership at that 30-person or higher level. So our company commanders lead 90. Our battalion commanders lead 330. Our regimental commander leads over 1,100 cadets. So imagine you were a company commander leading at least 90. Your peer from an ROTC only program had maybe one opportunity to practice leading 30, who's probably going to hit the ground run a little bit faster. That's what the Corps brings to the table. So we're going to give you a lot more academic transition, a very different roommate experience, and a lot more leadership opportunities that I think you can find at these civilian or ROTC only programs. Now, flip side of it, these all military all the time schools, they get this, right? They're going to do these same kinds of things. But what I see on that end is this. Freshman year, it's all about transitioning from high school to college. Sophomore year, whoa, my grades, I got to get my grades back, right? Our sophomores are very academics focused. Our juniors, though, they come back to college, they feel pretty confident about academics and leadership, and they go, wait a minute, college is almost over. I don't want to miss out on my college experience. You know, you pop your head up, look around, all military all the time school, it is still all military all the time. You know, you do that here at Virginia Tech. We've got Virginia Tech. We have over 800 different student organizations that you can belong to. You know, we've got a hot chocolate club. If you want to play a sport, we've got NCAA sports here. We've got intramural sports. You name it, there's a club for it here on campus. I think there's even a squirrel watching club, right? You can, in whatever you have an interest in, if you've got 2 other people who are interested with you, you can start your own club at Virginia Tech. There's just so much variety here on campus. So the truth is, you can earn a commission from any of these sources, but what I think it really comes down to is, what do you want your leadership opportunities to look like, and what do you want that college experience to look like? And we want you to know that there's an option right here in the middle, and that's the Virginia Tech Corps of Cadets. And our tagline is, we want to offer you the best of both worlds. Now, it is not best of both worlds day one. First 2 years, we're going to look a lot more like this all military, all the time school. Last 2 years, we'll be a little closer to that civilian or ROTC only program. But over the balance of 4 years, you can take advantage of everything this university has to offer. So that's where we fit, right in the middle. Okay, so let's go into the weeds a little bit. What does a week in the life of a cadet look like? Now, we're going to have a cadet panel following this, so you will have an opportunity to ask them some questions, and I think you should really take advantage of that, because they are living this every day and can really tell you what it's truly like to be a cadet in the Corps. And you can even ask them about being a cadet in the Corps during times of COVID, because that in itself is a really unique experience. But we usually get the day started with physical fitness training, and you're going to do that with your ROTC or Citizen Leader Track program. So the Marine Options and Army ROTC have physical fitness training Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 5:30, 6:30. The Navy, Tuesday, Thursday, 5:30, 6:30. Citizen Leader Track, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 5:30, 6:30. And Air Force, they don't do 5:30, they do it at 8:30 twice a week. But this is a huge recruiting tool for Air Force, right? They've actually had some of the highest PT scores in the nation, and they have continued to do that for the last 5 years. So it is a little bit of a benefit for them. But why they have it during the day is that that's actually a class where they're learning how to administer a physical fitness training program, because that might be one of their duties when they first get out on active duty. So they've got to learn how to do that. So the juniors and seniors are actually doing all of the planning for the class, and the freshmen and sophomores are actually executing the class. So it's a great way to learn how to run a physical fitness program. And they typically have that twice a week. Now I have it on Monday, Wednesday, but I think there's also a Tuesday, Thursday section. It's just whatever works with your classes. And then we have about 10 hours. I'm going to tell you, those are your 10 hours to be a professional student. Need to be going to class, kind of a given around here. But it's also when you can go work out. You can go eat lunch with friends from high school that might be here at Virginia Tech. Or you can go do laundry. Whatever it is you need to do, that's your time to manage. And truly the successful students here at Virginia Tech are the ones who learn how to manage this time the best. And then in the evenings, we're going to eat 2 meals a week together. One is freshman eats, where the freshman class eats together. It's pretty relaxed. It's just an opportunity for you to get to know and meet all of the other freshmen, maybe outside your company as well. And then one day a week, you'll probably have company eats, where your company will eat together. This can be a little bit more stringent, right? You're sitting on the front 3 inches of your chair. Your upper class can ask you questions out of our Guidon, which is our little book of knowledge. Looks something like this year, by the way. Oops, there you go. And then, but as you become a sophomore, junior, senior, this is your 1 time a week sit down and eat with your buds. So 2 meals a week freshman year, 1 meal a week sophomore, junior, senior year. You'll also have some red phase training, where we talk a little bit more about what red phase means, but you'll have about half an hour of red phase training during the first 6 weeks, where we continue some of that military training we could not fit into New Cadet Week. You'll also have your ROTC or Citizen Leader Track lab on Tuesday afternoons from 3:30 to 4:45, and your core lab on Thursdays from 3:30 to 4:45. So you'll always have those 2 labs, but you're going to find that most of the majors here on campus know this and can work, or you can find other sections that you can take your classes in. So it shouldn't be too much of an issue. And then on Monday night, you'll have that Management 1945 class that we talked about learning all those study skills. It meets a portion of the semester until you kind of really get the hang of that, and then that turns back into study hours. Now, our study hours are called Evening Call to Quarters, ECQ, and they are from 7 to 11 for first-year cadets, drops to 7 to 9 for sophomores. Juniors and seniors don't have mandatory study hours, but they cannot be blasting Fortnite as loud as they can get it. Okay, this is mandatory quiet hours here in the residence halls, and it's maintained both by the upper class cadets as well as the senior enlisted advisors. Now, if you know you have a test that you want to get up, that you want to stay up for, studying for, or I want to get to bed early because I know I did all my prep early, and I want to get a good night's sleep, you can request early lights or late lights. But as a leader, you're going to be planning ahead for others, so we want you to get used to planning ahead for yourself. So you do have to request it at least 1 day in advance, but as long as you do, it's always approved. And then We'll have on the weekends, we attend home football games when it's not the time of COVID. And we also have Pride nights where companies get together to do something to build pride in the company. And then we typically start our evening call to quarters a little bit earlier on Sunday night, so you have a chance to sit down and request those early lights and late lights and get everything up the chain before we start study hours. So this is a typical week in the life. And like I said, if you have questions, I hope you reach out and talk to the cadets during the cadet panel. So we wear basically 4 different uniforms here. We start off with white shirt. White shirt's our most common uniform. It's a short sleeve white shirt with blue-gray trousers. We also have a long sleeve blue-gray shirt we can wear when it's a little colder outside. And our dressier uniform is dress B. It's a high collar blue blouse with white trousers or blue-gray trousers when it's a little colder outside. And we can dress this up with cross belts. By the way, in this picture, what you're seeing are the flag cadets who are actually on the field at the football game, accepting the flags from the football players so they can take care of the flag and make sure it's properly cared for. And we also have our MCU uniform, our multicam uniform. Cadets would wear this every day if they thought they could get away with it because you don't have to shine the boots and it's a pretty comfortable uniform, but we do wear this a couple days of the week. Now there are some modified uniforms we might wear. For example, we have a very fancy coat that we can wear during New Cadet Week. You most commonly will be seen in Corps PT gear, which you can see the gray shirt and the black shorts. And then also during New Cadet Week, you'll also see cadets running around in the Corps shirt with the modified MCU trousers. So these are some uniforms you might see during New Cadet Week. So what are the 3 phases of training? Now, we have 3 phases of training. They happen to be red, white, and blue, go figure, just like the flag. And we also have New Cadet Week that kicks it all off. So this is 1 week before school starts for all the other students at Virginia Tech. And this is everything you think of in terms of boot camp. It's the haircuts, it's the uniforms, it's learning how to march. And learning how to march and learning how to march. There's a lot of marching in this week because we're trying to get ready for the New Cadet Parade, which is the following Saturday. So your family drops you off, you got your hair, you're wearing civilian clothes, you're like, go, 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 I got this, right? They don't hear from you for a week because there's no electronics during New Cadet Week. So the next time they see you, gentlemen, you've got a haircut, ladies, you've got your hair up, you're wearing your uniform and you're marching with your buds down on the drill field. It's a pretty amazing moment. And then Monday morning, class starts, and that enters red phase. Now, red phase, like the color, is the most intense time frame because there's so many new habits that you're trying to learn, right? This takes 2 weeks to learn a habit. We're going to tell you it takes about 6 weeks to learn all the new habits that it takes to be at a senior military college. So we're going to continue mastering basic military drill and how to sound off and customs and courtesies, right? And we're going to continue to work on that during red phase. But eventually you're going to get it, and this is all going to kind of start to flow for you. But we're also going to start learning how to be a student, right? And this is where you're going to start working on that goal setting and time management. And we're going to take all those skills you learned in high school and really start mastering them for being a college student. And then you're also going to focus on being a peer leader, which is probably the hardest type of leadership there is. Now, at the end of red phase, we're going to go on the first half of the Caldwell March. So we do the Caldwell March. It's named after William Addison Caldwell. He was the first student here at Virginia Tech. And he and his brother walked 26 miles to be the first students here. Now, I always get asked what happened to his brother. His brother got waylaid at a downtown bar, so the story goes, and that's how come Addison became our very first student. But we break this up into 2 13-mile hikes. So we're going to start off at the Caldwell Homestead, follow along the Appalachian Trail, and end up at a park named after the Caldwell brothers. And then we come back up here, and the freshmen usually earn their first privileges. Now, I don't warn you, the upper class sometimes have a sense of humor about this. But for example, they gave the freshmen the right to grow their hair to 1/4 of an inch and listen to classical music up here on the quad. So if you can imagine the 1812 overture rocking the Corps walls, that's kind of what it's like. And then that Monday morning, we shift into white phase. Now, things kind of level out around here. We don't back off on the requirements we have for first-year cadets, but we don't keep ramping them up either. You're starting to get the hang of things, right? So now we're going to focus on Cadet Leader School. We're going to start talking about becoming a fire team leader, which is a sophomore leadership position that mentors 2 to 3 freshmen. So we're going to start talking to you about the nuts and bolts of how that's done, plus the theory and ethics. That'll conclude with the military ball in February, and then we shift into blue phase. Now, blue phase, this is the last portion of the school year. You're going to continue working on those leadership skills. You're going to have a chance to interview for a fire team leader position, and if you earn one, you start to shadow the person you're going to replace in the fall. We also go on the second half of the Caldwell. So we start off at that park where we left off. We go straight up over Brush Mountain and march back onto campus. It's a big day around here. The Corps comes marching down Main Street. Everybody's honking and cheering as we get to Upper Quad. We fire the cannon. The freshmen form a circle. They do an about face and they get to greet their upper class by first name for the very first time in the year. It's a huge marker in the freshman experience. And then it doesn't really end until the change of command. Now, during the change of command, we're going to host our parade down on the drill field. We're going to ask the seniors to step out of the formation and join us in the reviewing party. And they're going to turn around and look back at that formation they were a part of for 4 years. Then the juniors move up into the senior positions, the sophomores into the junior positions, and the freshmen into the sophomore positions. Now, this is the hat throwing ceremony. You're like, woohoo, we did it, right? But one thing I've always noticed about the seniors, they're a little nostalgic, like, wow, I can't believe it's already over. You look back at the freshmen, though, they're coming out of their skins. They're so excited to be sophomores. So that kind of gives you that rhythm of the freshman year. Phew, so that's been a lot. So let me take a quick break here and talk about the Heidi Tidies. If you have band experience, we would love to talk to you about joining the Heidi Tidies. We have an additional $1,000 stipend that we can offer to students who choose to join the Heidi Tidies as their company here in the Corps. If you have music experience or you play the bagpipes, we would also love to talk to you about being in the Heidi Tidies. It's an amazing company to be a part of here in the Corps of Cadets. And like I said, we have an additional $1,000 stipend. They travel to parades during non-COVID times. They also do performances here on campus, and they are down on the football field, which is just an amazing experience when you have 67,000 people standing in the stands. So I hope you'll reach out and talk to some of the cadets about what it means to be a Heidi Tidy. So how do you apply? Well, there's two ways. You can use the Coalition application or the Common application. I'm going to highly encourage you to use the Common app. The core question is very easy to find on that application. We are question number 6. So when you come to the Virginia Tech section, question number 6 will ask you, do you wish to enroll in the Virginia Tech Corps of Cadets? Yes, no, or send me more information. If you choose send me more information, you'll still have to pay the application fee, and we'll send you a letter later, and you can choose to join the Corps later. Be careful with that. If you don't join and do that before about the second week in February, you're going to also miss out on the Emerging Leader Scholarship. Now, if you choose yes, one, you get to skip the pay page. So you're going to notice that you get to apply to Virginia Tech for free. You'll also notice that you are given additional consideration as a cadet, which means that, you know, if there are 3 people applying from your high school, one's going to be admitted, one's going to be denied. The one in the middle could go either way. That, by definition, is the wait list. And a cadet who falls in that area will be offered. Also, you'll automatically be considered for Emerging Leader Scholarship. There is no application for this other than choosing yes on the Virginia Tech application. Use your Virginia Tech information to do this board the second week in February. The scholarship is worth $8,000 in-state, $12,000 out-of-state. It's $1,000 a year in-state, $2,000 a year out-of-state. And we usually award around 200 of these, depending on how much funding we have available to that incoming class. Well, thank you very much for your time. And please know that I didn't get a chance to go into the ROTC/Corps Scholarship timeline that I usually recommend. So if you're interested in that, please come to our website, vtcc.vt.edu, and click under Visit and learn more and learn how to register for that. Have a great Hokie day.